This week on Storyboard, we are in conversation with Atit Mehta, Head of Marketing at Think and Learn Private Limited, BYJU's the learning app, who is joining us from Doha and speaking about their World Cup association, roping in Lionel Messi and being a part of the most scrutinized World Cup in history. We have Vivek Gambhir, CEO of Board, sharing what lies ahead for the brand, winning growth strategies and marketing plans. And on the sidelines of WPP Commerce, we caught up with CVL Srinivas, Country Manager WPP India, spoke to him about the future of commerce and much more. And finally, we get you the sneak peek into CNBC-TV18's marquee nights with Yannick Bolloré, Chairman Vivendi and Chairman and CEO Avas Group. Hello and welcome to Storyboard. I'm Shibani Gharat. The FIFA World Cup 2022 kicked off last weekend and many of us football fans have exciting weeks of football lined up for us ahead. While Indian team might not be playing at the World Cup, but we have an Indian brand as one of the global sponsors for the FIFA World Cup happening in Qatar for the first time, which is BYJU's. I'm catching up with Atit Mehta, Head of Marketing at Think and Learn Private Limited, BYJU's the learning app, who is joining us straight from Qatar about their World Cup association, roping in Lionel Messi, one of the world's highest paid footballers, and then facing a backlash for signing him soon after laying off 2,500 employees. Atit, welcome to CNBC TV18.
Thank you very much for having me.
Atit, first up, how is it in Doha? What does it feel like watching the World Cup live?
No, it's quite an carnivalish type of a feeling. The entire city has been lit up. One should drive around post 5:36, post sunset, and you will feel like every part of the city is lit up. Every part of the city has that excitement of the FIFA World Cup. Overall, good. Only thing is that the stadiums are a bit far off. So one needs to plan properly in terms of time taken to reach the stadium. But once you go over there, all the effort one has taken to reach there is minimized, and it's a feeling which money can't buy.
To see the logo, the brand logo on the ground, how does it feel as the brand custodian of BYJU's?
I remember the first match which I attended, I was not watching the match. I was only looking out that wherein the brand is coming, recording every piece of it, recording from every angle. So see, as marketeers and as business people, you will always look out for your brand, and over here the brand is there. So the feeling is good. A lot of people have reached out, a lot of people have spoken to us in terms of that we saw you on television. So yeah, the effort which has gone in over the last 6-7 months is finally coming to light.
And then, Atit, earlier, you also roped in Messi, BYJU's first World Cup and Messi's last. Tell us about your strategy and thought behind roping in Messi. How did that happen and what will he bring to the table?
The primary reason for us to sign up with FIFA was markets outside India. We have a reasonable operations and businesses going in LATAM, especially Mexico, Argentina, and some of the other countries in LATAM, where football is the biggest thing. Messi is the biggest icon ever seen by LATAM, outside Maradona and Pele in our current times. So the reason of signing Messi was primarily to put the brand at the forefront, especially in LATAM. Yeah. We signed him in start of the financial year in March, April, while we announced it right now, just before the World Cup, as we finished our communication and shoot and everything else. So the larger reason of having somebody like Messi on board is for our international markets. And the advertising campaign which we created is already getting played out in those markets. We are seeing initial traction where people are at least discovering the brand. People are relating to the brand. You have Messi as a brand ambassador. You have on-ground branding happening during the FIFA World Cup. So if you just add up all these things, you are now creating a sort of a presence in the consumer's mind. And that was the objective. So far, so good. And it's growing every day.
Okay, so BYJU's also faced backlash for signing in Messi, one of the world's highest paid footballers, as a brand ambassador soon after laying off 2,500 of your employees. What do you have to say on that? And do you feel this whole announcement was ill-timed?
It was just a coincidence that we went into some amount of right sizing. And and the Messi announcement came, but it was not something one had planned for. These are two independent pieces. While Messi, as I said, was primarily signed for international markets, the spillover in India is humongous, and that's good for all of us. While the right sizing exercise was primarily for India.
Okay, do you see the impact of this backlash on the objective that you set out to achieve by roping in Messi in the first place?
No, so there was enough and more chatter on social media platform. But yeah, so see, people who understand the strategic reasons why we do what we do, all of us, what we do, understands the larger piece. There are some section of the social media who started talking about that these guys have gone and signed Messi, and on the same side they are right sizing X amount of people. But at an overall level, no major impact. It's unfortunate that we had to go through this exercise because of all the reasons we know of. But these are independent initiatives. Brand initiative is for international markets, and we are true to that objective. And the overall strategy, the overall planning and overall approach with FIFA as well as Messi, at least in LATAM, is working wonderfully well for us.
Now, Atit, Qatar 2022 is arguably the most scrutinized World Cup in the history. So from an official sponsor standpoint, what is your opinion on this?
No, so scrutiny is one part. So see, everybody needs to follow the law of the land. And the World Cup is happening in this part of the world. And one needs to follow the rule which is laid out by the government. But as far as the restrictions are concerned, yes, it's quite a restrictive process from a sponsor perspective or even from a fan perspective. But if you follow the instruction, if you do things on time, it's a very, very well-planned system. You will not face any issues, any problems. But if one ends up doing any sponsor-based activity 4 days before the start of the World Cup, it will not be possible.
And then you must have also met other sponsors. What do they feel, especially about the restrictions and stuff? And what happened with Budweiser? What are they saying?
Yeah, so I haven't met the Budweiser guys, but yeah, all the other sponsors, whether it's Visa, whether it is Coke, whether it is Hyundai, Kia, all of them are pretty happy. Now, the advantage, which every brand has its own advantage. Now, for example, Hyundai has the opportunity of showcasing its future cars. So they might be doing that. Yeah. Coke has set up a nice setup, at least in some of the stadiums, where one can go and experience the Coke zone, so on and so forth. So every brand has the opportunity to do it, and I've spoken to 2 or 3 co-sponsors, and all of them are equally happy, equally tense that hope there are no changes coming in from the business, because any change to be implemented right now will take a lot of time.
And then finally, the most important question, which team are you rooting for?
So we are all rooting for Argentina. So there are good chances that if the team does not top the group, they will be second and they will get into the round of 16. So fingers crossed.
Atit, thank you so much. Thanks for joining us on the show today and sharing your insights with us.
Thanks, Shabani. Thank you very much.
It is time for a short break. On the other side, we have Vivek Gambhir, CEO of Boat, and we are also catching up with CVL Srinivas, Country Manager, WPP India, and speaking to him about the future of commerce.